What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a weekly gaming news show, the podcast where two seasoned console gaming veterans talk about the week's gaming news. We're your hosts. My name is Trenell, and as always, with me I have the homeboy Todd. What's going on, Todd?
What's up, man? Not much. The week actually went by really quick.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know what was going on this week to make it go so fast, but it went by quick.
Yeah, it did. This is episode 69. It's another Sunday, so we got a lot of news that we want to discuss with you guys. But first and foremost, we have to get our weekly icebreaker done, because that's, the first thing that we do on this podcast. And if you're new, the weekly icebreaker is just a question that we ask between the two of us to get a sense of where we are on certain gaming topics. So, Boogie, why don't you go ahead and introduce the icebreaker question for this week? What we got? This week,
and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but there's a Easter egg that's pretty cool, I think. But what is one of your most memorable Easter eggs in a game or by a gaming company?
Okay. Well, when you think about it, I don't know. There hasn't really been any Easter eggs that I have myself found and noticed before it was made public on the internet or anything like that. So I can't really say anything in particular. I mean, one of the more recent games that I've been playing, Sonic Mania, is just full of Easter eggs. So if you grew up in the 90s, you're a Sega fanboy, you will notice all types of Easter eggs. I mean, the inclusion of some of the more obscure characters from games like Sonic the Fighters, they made appearances in Sonic Mania. So those are, I guess they can be considered Easter eggs, but I think what you are referring to specifically is secrets hidden within the game. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something that's come across. Maybe it's secret, not something that's not mentioned, a secret feature, right. or maybe even just an homage to another game, another franchise, even something out of a movie. Okay. Because the one I've come up with that I remember, and I found was interesting, it was out of The Force Unleashed. Okay. And it was around the time Force Unleashed came out after the first 3 episodes of the Star Wars, the prequels of Star Wars, and everybody hated Jar Jar Binks, and
my mom fucking loved Jar Jar Binks, man. Yeah. She thought he was hilarious.
I didn't have a problem with him either, but I'm not everybody. But in the game, on one of the levels, Jar Jar is in carbonite on the wall.
Oh man.
You're walking by. I mean, is inconspicuous. It's innocuous. It doesn't mean anything to the game. It's just he's in a room up on the wall in carbonite. He got the Han Solo treatment. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is pretty funny, because they didn't really say or do anything with the character. He just stopped showing up in the movies, and we don't know what happened to him. Is that true? Or I'm not gonna pretend to be a Star Wars fan.
They gave him, so they have the comic books and the Clone Wars.
Right. In the expanded universe.
Yeah, in the expanded universe, he became one of the senators, and he was sitting on the Senate. Okay. And I think, if I'm probably mistaken, but I think the Senate was destroyed and he went along with them.
So he's dead. Okay.
Or yeah, either he's dead or he just went into exile somewhere in hiding.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, so that's pretty cool. I really feel like the video games really, especially for Star Wars, man, they really try to play on the movies and give you these little tidbits, which is why a lot of people really appreciate it and love the expanded universe. And it kind of sucks that it all of it was kind of just canceled, right, when everything was acquired by Disney.
Yeah, because Disney wants to they want to take that expanded universe and make movies out of it. Right. That's why we got the Rogue One,
and all that.
The Han Solo movie that's coming up, and I'm not too upset with it. My only issue with that is some of the stuff that especially the fan-made expanded universe, was extremely good.
Even some of the official expanded universe stuff, like the old Marvel comics. I think Dark Horse had a comic series. They had some graphic novels. The video games. A lot of that lore was just expanded, and for at least from an outsider looking in, it seems to make a lot of sense. You don't really see a lot of people I don't count that. It doesn't really fit. They usually try to make it fit within the movie universe, which is really cool. So to hear about that, and I have not beaten any of the Force Unleashed games, which is unfortunate because they're actually pretty good, and they're both both
no.
of them. You didn't like number 2, right?
The Force Unleashed actually wasn't that. It's okay.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're
average. Yeah. The first one was average. The second one was kind of a bit of a mess.
Okay. But they were both games for gold, so I have both of them.
Right. I think they're worth a playthrough.
Yeah.
At least the first one is. I can't say because I never finished the second one. I just got annoyed with it, and where the story was going. It just was a weird, convoluted mess. I got maybe halfway, but the third to halfway. But the first one I beat the hell out of the first one because I really enjoyed that.
Cool. So we're gonna get more into Easter eggs once we reach our long form. I have one that I'm thinking of, but I'll save that for later on in the podcast. So let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, which is going to be our quick hits. And this is the part of the show where we take a couple of stories that we think are important, and we report them and we talk about them. These don't necessarily deserve the deep dive like the top 5 news stories, but it's definitely something that we want to discuss with you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. What's the first quick hit we got?
Okay, so remember last week we talked about Steam booting about 200 games off of out of the Steam store.
Yeah.
Most of them were from one particular developer. This developer is called Silicon Echo, and they have now announced that they will be closing down. They were shutting down.
I like how you use the term "was" because they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, they're shutting down. Basically, the bulk of the games that were taken down by Steam were Silicon Echo games. And I mean, if you look at the history, if you look at a few of their games and you look at the review history and comments, it's quite clearly shovelware, and they were using the games to abuse with the Steam card system, because I guess the way it works, you get the Steam cards. And the developer earns a cut of the money out of the Steam cards, a percentage. So they were using it so people can easily farm Steam cards and get paid that way.
Yeah.
And it was clearly an abuse. It was against the terms of service. They came out and tried to act like, oh, we didn't do anything wrong. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They didn't say we didn't do anything wrong. They just said, oh, nobody told us. We didn't know. The Steam didn't let us know, but I mean, it's in the terms of service that you can't do this. And on top of that, we talked about on a show a few months back, Steam came out and said they're going to start cracking down. Came out and said they're going to start cracking down on games on stuff like this on the Steam store. So it was coming, and it was well publicized. So for them to come out and say, "Oh, we didn't know," blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they knew. I mean, this was their main source of income. These games, like, they're barely games.
No, they were just asset flipping. They were taking. Yeah. They were just taking the base assets you find. I think they were using Unity in most of the games, but they were just taking the base assets and using that as a game. They didn't do anything to it.
Yeah. Is this why a lot of people's perception of the Unity engine is it's crap, because you get a lot of these developers that put out games in the Unity engine and they're advertised, made with Unity. Is like,
right.
No.
And the thing with Unity, I think it gets a bad rap because it's actually it's pretty easy to use.
Dude, Cuphead was made in Unity.
Yeah. It's easy to use, but it's difficult. It's easy to use, difficult to master.
Yeah,
And if you master it, like you said, Cuphead. I mean, there's plenty of games. Was it one of the Banjo games?
What you talking about? Ukulele? I think Ukulele was made in Unity.
Yeah, Ukulele. Yeah, I mean, if you get a good developer that's actually going to work in it, there's some beautiful stuff that can come out of Unity. Yeah, and this company, they just shovelware, and they were just abusing the system, and they got what they deserved. Yeah. I kind of feel bad if they had a huge staff and those guys are out of work. My guess, it might have been a dozen or so people that were just pumping out this junk.
Definitely don't. You never want to see anybody unemployed, but when it comes to a community like Steam, they've been through a lot of bad publicity over the last year or so.
Yep.
With the gambling and all that jazz, so they definitely it's high time they cleaned house, and companies like Silicon Echo are definitely going to be in trouble.
Yep.
They're the ones that's going to be the first out, because these type of games, they exist across all platforms, mobile, console, PC. So the fact that Steam is going out of their way to eliminate, these kind of developers off of their platform means that we're going to have a much safer, a much cleaner Steam experience.
And you'll actually be able to find games that are worth playing. Because what happens with these type of games, it just pushes everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it hard to find, a pain in the butt to find, and then it comes to a point where you're only searching for stuff that's been advertised. Because if you just try to browse, it's just a mess.
It's trash.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next quick hit? What we got?
We got some Overwatch news.
Hey yo.
Overwatch is bringing back the Halloween event starting on Tuesday. The Overwatch, and is running through the first week of November, I believe. There's definitely going to be some Halloween skins. There's a few that have been leaked. There's one for Anna. There's one for
Reaper,
Reaper, McCree, Symmetra, and May are ones that have been released. I think the coolest one so far I've seen is Zenyatta, who's going to be a Cthulhu. That's awesome. I think what's his name is interesting, May, because apparently she's like a Chinese hopping dragon, hopping vampire.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what Symmetra is. And then Anna's got like
Junkrat looks cool. He's kind of like a evil scientist type dude.
That's from last year.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, that Junkrat one is from last year, Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't see the ones that I saw that are new this year were the McCree and the Reaper, and those were in the Twitter feed, the Twitter announcement by Overwatch, and then the 4 that leaked were the Zenyatta, the Anna, the May, and the Symmetra.
Okay. Yeah. So man, I don't know, man. I don't know what it's going to take for me to get back on Overwatch, man. I have not been playing that game at all. It is like I found it, and like I maybe played it once since I found it.
Yeah, I'll be getting back on. I haven't been playing. I played a couple of matches after the updates to Diva and Mercy went live.
Okay.
But I've been preoccupied with Destiny 2. I've actually gotten I've gotten to my master point, and now they're gonna throw the prestige raid mode at me, so I'm gonna be dumping hours into that. But I will be playing Overwatch during the Halloween event. Absolutely.
All right, what's next? What we got?
I don't know what's next.
Next up, we have the fact that you can win a free Xbox One X through an AR game.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. I mean, it's basically a promotion. It's being sponsored by Doritos, Mountain Dew, and Microsoft. And the way it works is it's an app. It's called the Drop Zone. It's an app, and it's a capture the flag contest. Unfortunately, it's on the weekend of November 10th, so it's the weekend after release. The Xbox One X releases on the 7th, and it's only in Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. Okay. And basically, it's a real-time location-based AR game. And it's capture the flag. And I think that's cool. Not necessarily that you can win the Xbox. I like that they're bringing something like that out to the public. You'll be interested to see how it goes. I'm going to keep my eye on it. But if you're going to be in LA, New York, or Chicago on the weekend of November 10th, grab that app, run around the city, and capture the flag. Maybe you can go home with an Xbox One X.
That's actually pretty cool. And sticking with Xbox news and our quick hits, a picture came out.
This is awesome.
A picture came out. It surfaced on the internet that showed on the actual, like, I guess it's like the motherboard of the console, or one of the console chips, has an etched in image of Master Chief riding a scorpion. And not the vehicle from the game, like an actual scorpion. An actual scorpion. Because remember, Xbox was Project Scorpion, right? Yep. And I think this is super cool. That's an Easter egg. That's an Easter egg if I've ever seen one. That's a cool ass, and it's a cool Easter egg. Yeah, for sure. So that's pretty cool. Something that we wanted to bring to you guys. Right. So yeah. Oh man, we're getting really close to the release of the One X, man. Yeah, less than a month away. A lot of stuff. November is going to be a very busy month for the gaming industry, man. Because you have a lot of games coming out. You have the Xbox One X coming out, and I'm very curious as to how it's gonna sell, especially overseas. During the launch of the Xbox One X, the midnight release was dead. It was one of the most depressing things I've ever seen in my life. The original Xbox One. The original Xbox One, yeah. Yeah. So that's like etched into my brain. But with how much power this console is bringing to the table, I'm actually very curious. I mean, I do not have one pre-ordered. I think if I'm gonna upgrade, I'll probably get the One S. because I'm still rocking the OG.
See, this is what I would say to if you're on the original Xbox now, it makes no sense for you to step up to the S. You might as well just move on to the X. What if you're not in a rush? I will wait, maybe give it 6 months to a year. It'll probably drop in price, or they'll have a huge bundle if you're not in a rush to get it. It's no reason if you went out and got an Xbox One S, I don't necessarily think you would need to go and get a One X. Unless you want the 4K gaming, because all the other 4K features are in the One X as far as the Blu-ray player and the streaming. All that's already in the One X, and you're also getting advanced audios, Dolby Atmos, and all that other good stuff.
Right.
The only thing you're getting from going from S SAM to X-ray is the 4K gaming bit.
Right.
But if you have an Xbox One, an OG Xbox One, unless you're like extremely strapped for cash and I don't think there's any reason for you to get a 1S. You might as well just skip to the X.
Maybe. We'll see. My thing is I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the 4K gaming. So it's like no point.
And another thing I would tell people to look out for, especially coming this holiday season, look out for Xbox One bundles with 4K TVs. The 1S and even the 1X. They didn't do it last year, but
something's telling you.
Yeah, something's telling me that the bundles are going to be out there, because at the end of the day, the 1S is going to be $250. That's the cheapest 4K capable Blu-ray player on the market.
Right.
And the 1X for $500 would be like an upgrade if you're going out to get the most expensive or the highest end TV. Of course, they're going to want to sell you the highest end piece of gear to go with it, right?
Right.
So that's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to do our holiday buyer's guide this year too. It's about that time. We're getting close, man.
Getting close.
The year, it's almost over.
The time, man. The time. Where does it go?
Where does it freaking go, man? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. That was the quick hits. If you have a story that you want to submit to us, do so via our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook. You can also leave comments down in the comment section below of wherever you are consuming this media. And any story submitted to us will most likely make it into the quick hits. But now it's time for the meat and potatoes of the podcast, and that's the top 5 news stories for this week. And before we do that, I actually want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, the new challengers. Are you playing Street Fighter V? Are you playing Injustice 2? You want to get good? Head on over to newchallenger.gg and get good at your favorite freaking fighting game with your favorite character. The new Challenger Discord is filled with tons of knowledgeable gamers, experienced fighting game veterans, coaches, the ability to participate in online tournaments and win prizes. Head on over to the website. It's newchallenger.gg and join the Discord and let them know that True Sonic sent you. They will be supporting Dragon Ball Fighters when it comes out. I know that for a fact, and I will definitely be a part of that community. But they have tons of knowledge for Street Fighter V, Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and Tekken 7 as well. So head on over and make sure that you follow them on their social media as well. They're New Challenger TV on Twitter and on Twitch. They have weekly shows that they broadcast, like the beginner breakdown, that you should definitely check out. So again, that's newchallenger.gg, and let them know that True Sonic sent you. Shout out to Mr. Vinegar, who is the founder of the Discord channel, and also shouts out to Mount Lover, who is a friend of a weekly gaming news show, as well as a coach and commentator for the Street Fighter V tournament. All right, so let's go ahead and get on with the show, and we're about to jump into the top 5 news stories. And like I said, this is the meat and potatoes of the podcast. And the first thing that we have on the list is PlayStation news.
Yeah, we got
a lot of PlayStation news to talk about. Why don't you go ahead and get it started, Boogie?
Okay, so I talked about this. You talked me out of it, and
sorry,
you talked me out of getting a PSVR, and you probably saved me because I would have been mad upset.
Salty.
Because remember, and then last week I told you that Amazon was selling them for $100 off. Now we know why. It looks like they may have been trying to clear inventory, as there's an updated hardware revision coming for the PlayStation VR. The PlayStation VR, has, if you didn't know, it has the headset you put on, but it has this little small box, which is the processor unit. Well, that unit is being updated, so now it allows for HDR pass-through. The way it was before, if you had a 4K TV with HDR, you had to unplug your PSVR's processor unit to get HDR on the TV.
Mess.
So now that pass-through is now going to work. You won't have to unplug it, so it'll pass the HDR through. Apparently, the cord is slimmer and more dynamic, and smaller and slimmer. They allow you to integrate your cable. If you have stereo headphones, the cable will be able to be integrated into the headset itself, so it's not just dangling out there wildly. And that's about it, I believe. There's not much more to it. The pricing is going to be the same.
The same as the current reduced price?
Yep, $399 for the headset with the camera, and then $449 for the headset with the camera and the Move controllers. Okay. And the way you'll be able to tell is there's going to be new box art, and it's getting a new model number. The model number is CUHZVR2. The current model number is ZVR1. So it goes from 1 to 2. So you just look for the box with 2 on it, and you're getting a new headset.
There's going to be a lot of kids that are going to get the wrong PSVR for Christmas. I guarantee.
Oh yeah, because it's going to be on those Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, why is this one $299 or $329? This one $399. Oh, it's because. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They both do the same thing. And to be quite honest, the HDR pass-through issue is a small amount of people that's going to be using it anyway. But still, it's an issue that should never have been, if you ask me. But
it's a product that never should have been, if you ask me.
Harsh.
Sorry, man.
Okay.
More PlayStation news.
The next thing for PlayStation is the 5.0 firmware has been released. It's been in beta since August. They did finally release it. It's nothing much. I mean, they added their own tournament guide, tournament setup where you can sign up for. You can set up and sign up for tournaments up to, I think, 100 people or 60 teams, 100 people. And you can sign up for up to 60 tournaments. They've disabled notifications while you're watching, or they gave you the option to disable notifications while you're watching videos, so no more pop-ups while you're watching your favorite Netflix joint. Where you're trying to do your Netflix and chills, you get that pop-up from your friend that wants you to play Call of Duty. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I don't watch anything on my PlayStation because I have a capture card, and anytime I enable. Like, in order to enable, like, watching video, I have to, like, also enable HDC, whatever.
HDCP,
HDCP. The security, it has to be enabled. And then, like, in order to turn it back off, I have to go in the options and turn it off. It's a hassle. So I just use, if I'm gonna use a console, I mostly just watch everything on my PC because my PC is also connected to my television.
Yeah, you don't have that. They don't have that issue.
I don't have that issue. So This is something that should have been a long time ago. Like we had this on 360.
I've never watched anything on the place. Actually, I take that back. When I first got the Pro, I watched Netflix, the 4K HDR, just to see what it looked like. I mean, there's a huge difference between that and the Xbox One S and the TV itself, because my TV actually is a smart TV, has the app built in as well. Okay. And I mean, the difference was negligible. The TV did the worst. Both of the consoles were much better. Other than that, they added some more family controls. You can now follow people without them friending you, so I can actually stalk you as opposed to being your friend on PlayStation. And as a follower, you get public notifications, like if you go on a stream or something like that. I get a notification so I can pop in and watch. Other than that, I mean, it's not really much to it. There's some other issues, like some bug fixes as always, and that type of thing, but. I mean, nothing huge, no big, huge redesign or anything like that. Me personally, I think the PlayStation UI is atrocious. It's the worst thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's not the best.
People say that about the Xbox, so I mean, it's to each his own. It's just my opinion. There's not any truth to it. It's just my opinion. But yeah, that's it.
That's pretty much it for the update. But yeah, we have one more story.
Wait. The other huge, big, mind-blowing news. stream 1080p at 60 frames per second on Twitch.
Oh,
if you have a PlayStation 4, only if you have a PlayStation 4 Pro.
Oh,
yeah. You have to have a 4 Pro, and you can do 1080 60 frames per second streaming. If you don't have a 4 Pro, you're stuck at 720 or worse.
Well, we have one more story coming out of PlayStation.
Yeah, the last story out of PlayStation is Andrew House. He stepped down. He's been with Sony for 27 years. I think the past 6 years he's been head of the PlayStation division. He actually launched the PlayStation 4. The picture of the dude holding up the PlayStation 4, that's him. Mm-hmm. He's just stepping down, and John Codera will be taking over. Is actually effective immediately, and this was back, I think, Tuesday or Wednesdays when this was announced.
Right.
John Codera is taking over, and Andrew House will be staying on until the end of the year as a director and chairman.
Yeah. Okay.
My guess is just he's just handed over the reins. Getting John Codera up to speed.
Soft transition.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Codera's actually been with the company since like '92 though, and he played a very, very big part in Sony's I don't know what you want to call it, but their involvement in the handheld market. He was kind of like the head of that division of Sony Interactive Entertainment. So it's actually, a lot of people are raising some questions as to what this means for Sony going forward. Will they try again to pursue a position in the handheld marketplace? Because according to Andrew House, that was impossible.
That was him. That he said that last month, right?
Yeah. Andrew House, he said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with them bringing on somebody that played a very important part in Sony's handheld history. Could this mean that they're maybe trying to re-enter that marketplace? It's just one of the questions that I heard. As soon as his name was brought up, it was like, okay, this was the PSP guy.
Right. That's interesting, because if you think about the timing, he announced, we don't want anything to do with. I don't think that there's a future in handheld. Then he steps down, and they put a handheld girl in his spot.
Exactly.
Yeah, that really, and then you look at the Switch, which is a quasi handheld.
It's a hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, Sony is not afraid of copying. They will copy.
Nope.
PlayStation Move, anybody?
Exactly.
PlayStation Eye, anybody? I mean, they're definitely not afraid of copying somebody else's success. So that's interesting. I didn't think about that. I didn't put that particular math together. But yeah, that's interesting to see what happens going forward.
Yeah. So we'll see the new head of Sony has in store for the PlayStation. I personally don't think that she enter back into the handheld market. It's kind of occupied at the moment.
It's dead as
and with the predominance of smartphones
and the rapid progression of how they went from just super pixelated games to seriously complex high fidelity type games.
From Snake to freaking Final Fantasy 15 is crazy.
Right. Yeah, and you look at some of these games, and you look at the Google Pixel 2 and the new iPhone the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy Note 8. I mean, those things are packing huge processing power. And they can run games approaching, definitely surpassing the Wii, maybe even approaching last generation PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Good luck to everybody over at Sony. And good luck to Mr. House, and we'll see what he does going forward.
Right.
Let's go ahead and move into the next story. And here we're going to be talking about Street Fighter V. You remember the game that Capcom released over a year ago and stated that there would be no extra additions or anything like that. It's Street Fighter V. That's all we're going to do. But okay, I guess not, because they've announced the Street Fighter V Arcade Edition. And what's crazy about this is that in addition to being a re-release, it will be released in stores in physical capacity. It will be a free upgrade to anybody that currently owns the game. Right. So this is very different from how they did upgrades in the past.
Right. Because before once the new Street Fighter Edition came out, everybody with the original one was just SOL. Either you
Yeah.
bought the new version or you just got left behind.
You got left behind, yeah. So this is not going to be the case. It's going to be packing a lot of new features, including an arcade mode, which shouldn't be a new feature. This should have been in the vanilla version, but I rest my case. Street Fighter V has been going through a lot of trouble since its launch. It's probably one of the lowest selling Street Fighter V games, and I think with the rise of the esports scene is the only reason that this game is even remotely freaking marketable. You know, that's where its market is. It's in the esports scene because it was outsold by Pokken. I'll never forget that.
Well, this is the thing I see about this, because I think they're actually, this is pretty good on them, because one, they're not leaving it. They're not fracturing the community. They're not gonna upset the early adopters, the people that bought the game at launch or have had the game for the past 2 years that have been playing it. And this is what I like about it, is the price point. The price point is $40.
$40 bucks if you're entering in,
right. $39.99 for the game, 2 DLC character packs, and then all of the new modes. And again, everybody that's been playing it, they get all of the modes too. I think that's a pretty good deal. Maybe it could help sell a few more copies.
Oh yeah, and I mean, because that's the whole point. They're rebranding it to kind of just like distance it from the vanilla version, because the vanilla version didn't sell. So they're trying to rebrand it. It's the arcade edition. It's releasing when? Did they give us a date?
It's in January. January
16th.
Yep. January 16th, 2018. Yes. It's going to be released. It's Steam and PlayStation 4, so still a console exclusive to PlayStation.
Yep.
There's still going to be cross-plat between PlayStation and PC players.
Yep.
I'm glad I feel kind of happy that I've not bought Street Fighter, because I'm still interested in getting it. I just haven't. For $40, this is probably a definitely get for me. I would get it. I just have to decide if I want it on PC or PlayStation now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I haven't played Street Fighter V in quite some time. I don't know if this is something that's going to get me back into the game, because like fundamentally, I just don't find it all that entertaining. I don't like that on a fundamental level.
Right.
But the inclusion of the different modes that because they have like a structured arcade mode where you can go through like a Street Fighter 1 style arcade, or Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter 4. And so it's pretty cool. It's kind of like they're reeling back and trying to cater more to the casual audience by including more modes, more ways to play besides just go online and get wrecked
and get beat up. Yeah, exactly.
So
now, if you're having problems getting beat up in Street Fighter V, new challenges, yeah,
help you get good. But
that's right.
For me, it's kind of like a too little, too late, and I feel like that's going to be the thought process with a lot of people. I mean, plus there's been a lot of changes with Street Fighter over the last few months, and there's still actually one more character in the season 2 pack that hasn't been released yet, so we're still waiting on that.
And then there's also a section or a group of people that always wait for the Street Fighter edition, whatever edition comes out before they jump in. So I mean, there's going to be that group out there as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pick up more people, add people to the community or not. But I definitely don't see this as a bad thing by them, because I think they're doing right by the community and giving them the update.
Yeah. You're definitely doing right by the community, and they definitely need some some good graces. They definitely need to get back on the side of the consumer, because they've for the longest time, and this is just with Capcom in general, a lot of consumers really don't feel like they've been feeling the love when it comes to Capcom.
Right.
And that includes Street Fighter V and Marvel Infinite. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother episode. So like we said, January 16th is when it comes out. $40 at retail. If you currently have it, you get the free update. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It was necessary, I feel like.
Yeah.
Necessary, not surprising. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story. This is all you, man.
This is another Microsoft story.
Yeah.
Wait, Yeah. This is another Microsoft story. This time we're talking about Forza Motorsport 7. And there was a big hullabaloo. So if there was an early access available, and they had the $100 collector's edition, which gave you VIP access. And typically with VIP access, you got an XP boost. It's usually, I think, 2 times a 2x XP gain for all your races. Well, when Forza 7 was released, the VIP XP gain was actually 5 tokens that you were only able to use 5 times each. And you couldn't even use them on every race. Like in previous VIP editions, you can use it on every single race. You get the XP gain. That's part of the reason people wanted the VIP, because as you gain XP, you get currency and you're able to unlock more cars and
Right.
such. And people are very upset, namely because this was not necessarily communicated. It was communicated very poorly. And Turn 10 has decided to backtrack a bit. They reverted the VIP program back to what it was in Forza 6, and they're giving away 4 more additional cars for free, and they're giving 100 in-game credits. 1 million in-game credits, I should say.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, use the credits to buy cars. I mean, some of the cars can be 1 million each, or you can buy Ford Mustangs for like 35,000 credits if you wanted a bunch of those. But I mean, they definitely saw the error of their ways, and they reverted back. I think it wouldn't have been a huge problem if they had communicated it better.
Yeah.
The problem was because people felt like they were hornswoggled, they were gypped, or they were cheated because they were expecting one thing and got something totally different. And had they known prior, they would have just bought the normal edition without the VIP if that's not what they wanted. But the fact that it wasn't explained to them beforehand, they kicked out the money, which is $100 for that special edition, and then they didn't get what they were expecting. That's what mainly caused a problem. And when you look at something like that, I don't blame the community for complaining. They have a very valid argument.
Yeah, if I spend $100 on anything and it's not what I expected it to be, I'm gonna need to talk to somebody's supervisor. Get up out of here.
there you go. Yeah, but Turn 10, like I said, they fixed it. And they threw out an olive branch. Hopefully, the community. I mean, the Forza community is one of those communities that the people that are hardcore Forza, they're going to play.
Yeah.
You can smack them a couple of times, they're still going to play. But for them to go back and say, okay, we're not going to just stick you like we know some people Nintendo would do.
Shoot, or even other racing sims like
right.
Gran Turismo.
Right. They didn't stick them. They kind of fixed the issue and apologized. Is good on them.
I mean, because it's crazy to think about it, but Forza is one of Microsoft's flagship franchises at the moment.
Oh yeah, I mean Forza is. I remember I think it was a couple of months ago. There's a Forza League, like serious racing commentary. I was surprised, and those dudes are dead ass serious. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, and I've been a Forza fan since the very first one. I like it a lot. I know you don't like the race car simulations, but the way they've done Forza is been great through and through. And
they're gonna need to continue because I mean they don't have much more over at Microsoft.
And again, it is a whole lot of pretty.
Oh yeah,
a lot of pretty.
Yeah, if there's anything Boogie likes in video games, it's the pretty. So I mean, good on them for backpedaling on that decision, and because, and this is just what I'm saying. It's all about making the consumers happy. When it's blatantly misrepresented or delivered in a way that was confusing. Just come back and fix it. It's not that hard.
And this just points out
this shows some points, man.
This just points out the need for proper communication.
Yeah,
I mean, if you communicate it, and a lot of that sentiment was spread around the community. It's like I don't necessarily mind. The consensus seemed to be I don't necessarily mind that they made the change, but tell me first before. Don't tell me after I've already purchased it. And that's
And what about you? Are you part of are you on the VIP program? at all?
No, I didn't buy Forza. I was expecting my game share to buy it. I don't know if he bought it or not. If he doesn't, I would get it eventually. I'm not, again,
Not in a rush.
Yeah, I'm not in a huge rush. Forza normally goes on sale for $40 during Christmas anyway. So I'll get it once I see the price I want.
Okay.
If it's not, it might already be on there. I haven't checked.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
Cool. Let's get on with the next story. Let's move on to the next story. What we got?
Riot Games.
Riot Games.
League of Legends. If anybody
League of Legends. That's pretty much all they have.
If anybody knows anything about League of Legends, you do know that the community can be quite toxic.
Oh yeah.
And that does not exclude apparently Riot Game employees. So if you follow League of Legends, you undoubtedly know about Tyler One. He's like a notorious League of Legends troll, toxic player. I mean, he'll get in and throw matches for people, vulgar, to the point where he was suspended for the better part of more than a year, almost 2 years, I think it is, like
right.
16 months, 18 months. He was banned from the game for a year. Think about that. A gaming company bans a player for over a year. I mean, you have to do a lot for that to happen, and he did enough.
To get, like, pointed out like that, like, by your gamer tag. Like,
right.
Yeah, we want you to not play our game.
Right. And the thing is, when he got the ban, the community was 100% behind it. A lot of times, people get banned. It's like, oh, that's unfair. We don't think. No. They say, yeah, thank God, finally. Right. Get this dude the hell out of here. Well, the Riot Sanduro, who goes by his government name of Aaron Rutledge, decided to jump into the League of Legends Reddit Discord and voice some rather awful opinions.
Some spicy. It was spicy.
Apparently, he posted, and I'm going to quote this. This is a quote. These words are not attributed to me. He says he's going to die of a cocaine overdose or testicular cancer from all of the steroid use, and then we'll be Gucci.
We'll be Gucci.
Yeah, so basically he's like, yeah, this dude's going to die and we'll all be happy. And that's, I don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you work for. I don't care what the other person has necessarily done. Really, that's a bridge way too far. And Riot thought so too, because shortly after that, Mr. Rutledge goes onto his Facebook and posts that he is no longer employed at Riot Games. I doubt that he just quit.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, when I read that, I thought, I'm like, really? You're an employee, one. You're a well-known employee. Seems to be like either a community manager or a community advocate. And you go into a public forum and post something like that. Are you on drugs? Were you high? Were you drunk? I mean, what the heck? Really? And the worst part about it is, once he was called out on it, he tried to defend it. Mm-hmm. Then he goes, you guys are on a witch hunt, before finally saying, okay, I may have went too far. Yeah, really? Do you think?
No, then he said that it was a joke, and then that people were taking it too far, and then he apologized.
Right. Always a joke, right? Yeah, that disgusting thing I said is a joke. Yeah, I don't know. This goes to show you that regardless of who you are, that type of toxic behavior, there's no place anywhere in that. Anywhere for stuff like that. It's just no place. It makes no sense.
Yeah, in the age of outrage, you can't go.
Age of outrage. That's awesome.
You cannot go into a public forum and say something like that about anybody. Some people aren't going to have it, and like Riot Games, League of Legends is still probably one of the highest played, games out there. They don't want that negative press. They don't want that.
No, definitely not. They just did the international. How much was the 28 million? 26
something like that. Yeah, they don't want to lose no sponsors or anything like that. Forget that.
No, it's big money. They will get rid of you. Absolutely, and
we'll get somebody else to communicate to our fans.
Right. I've watched like I think we did a story on this Tyler one time a while ago.
Yeah.
And I watched some videos of this dude. This dude, he is a bit of a dick. He's actually a lot of a dick. But still, just because he has a bad attitude or his behavior is poor, he's not putting anybody at risk. He's not hurting anybody. He's just, a bit of a jerk. So
he's an asshole, and you banned him. So good on you. Like, leave it at that. Jeez.
Exactly. So yeah.
Anyway,
I don't necessarily feel sorry for you, Aaron. But good luck in finding another job somewhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was just about to say that. We have one more story in our top 5 news stories for this week, and it involves our favorite company, Nintendo. Oh man! All right, so the Nintendo World Championships actually went down this weekend, and I mean it was this huge spectacle. They had a bunch of like internet personalities and fans and kids come and play some of their top premier Nintendo titles during a competition. I didn't necessarily watch it. I caught a couple of glimpses of it. Go ahead.
Ask your question.
Yeah.
Did they play any of these games online?
Oh yeah, you know what? It was actually streamed live over on the official Nintendo of America YouTube channel, which is weird because if you're a Nintendo partner, you can't do that.
Oh yeah, but Nintendo can. It's their stuff.
Oh, but yeah, but it's their stuff, so Nintendo can stream it, but yeah, nobody else can.
My question is, the players that were playing each other, were they playing online against each other online?
No, I guess it was just local. Yeah, because that actually goes into the story that we're gonna talk about today. Apparently, and this was probably the craziest thing that I read this week. And we've talked about NBA 2K in the past, but on NBA 2K18 on the Switch, it does not allow you to play online with friends. There is an online mode. You can play versus online, but you cannot invite your friends to play online. And the exact same thing goes for EA's FIFA 18 on the Switch.
And did I read it right that on 2K18 the option is in the menu, is just grayed out and unselectable?
Yeah, it's actually in the menu because that feature is a thing on
every other system.
On the other systems. Mm-hmm. But it's really weird, and I'm gonna get into it. Okay, so another thing about 2K18 is that it's over 20 gigabytes.
Yep.
And so if you have a 32 gig system with no external like memory or anything like that,
that's the game you're playing.
That's the only game you're playing.
And the save file is like 5.6 gigabytes.
Right, something like that. So it actually says, and I believe this was updated after the fact, that it what's it called, a memory card is required in order to play this game.
We talked about this. We talked about this story when they announced 2K18. Yeah, so they actually came out with box art that had like a placeholder saying that.
Yeah,
and it noted that the NBA 2K18 would be the first game to require external memory to be able to play it, because it's 20 gigabytes and plus is a 5 gig save file, and on top of that, that save file has to be saved on the system. You can't do any save files on your external memory.
Nope.
At all. So
like almost 30 gigs of memory if you do not have a memory card is going to be on your system. Right. Because and at the time that this was reported, and I think it's still the case, the game is not available in physical form. 2K18.
No, it is available in form, but when you install it, you still have to download another file.
Oh, jeez. Well, all right. So that's with 2K18. But yeah, the online mode is actually in the menu, but it does not allow you to invite your friends. And this is something that is inherently an issue with the Nintendo Switch itself. It does not allow the capability to do so. There's no kind of internal like friends list or anything like that, or like chat feature. None of that is on the console, so it's pretty much impossible. And when Eurogamer, they actually reached out to EA as far as FIFA 18 on some of the modes, and their response is that you can play locally or you can play with multiple switches. Like those, that's it. That's it. Yeah. The Switch console does not allow you to play online like in the other
and it's not systems. It's not something the developer is doing. It's either limitations or locks that Nintendo has in place on the Switch, and that's a problem. And this day and age, that is a huge problem, that I can't pick up my Switch and say, yo, Trenell, let's go play NBA 2K18, or Trenell, let's go play FIFA. I can't do that. That's ridiculous. And I mean, it started showing up even in Splatoon. I don't know. Let me take that back, because I'm not a big Splatoon dude.
Okay.
But when we played Splatoon, we couldn't party up, right?
There's a particular mode that you have.
Right, it has to be the what is it called, the competitive mode, whatever that's called.
It's not the ranked mode. It's like I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, like if I'm playing like regular battles, you can join my game. We won't be on the. There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee
that we'll be on the same team, but you can join my game. In ranked mode, you can't join me at all. And then they have like I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the competitive mode. Right. And like you can party up with friends and
party up with teams, right?
And the salmon run, which is like the horde mode, you can party up for that. But other than that, like, and it's so restrictive, and that's one of the things that I hate about online gaming on the Nintendo Switch. But another interesting thing about FIFA 18 is that it's built on this custom engine, and because of that, there's no story mode. So one of the big features that they talked about huge on the FIFA 18. When you look at some of the trailers, that story mode was in all of those trailers, or most of them. Yeah.
And it's just non-existent.
Yeah, it's completely omitted from the Switch version, making FIFA and 2K18 clearly the inferior versions in more ways than just its graphical prowess or whatever. So I don't know. These were stories that came up, post launch, and it has a lot of people like angry. Like, there's been a lot of people on forums it's like, why can't I invite friends to play online, and come to the fact that you just can't.
That's just the way the system is.
That's just the way it is.
And now that all the hype is dying down, and there's real games coming out for Nintendo, all of the glaring omissions for the Switch are becoming are showing. Yeah, there is rearing their ugly heads. Nintendo's online setup is the worst thing I've seen
in modern console gaming. Period. I mean, going all the way back to OG Xbox and PlayStation 2 with the PlayStation 2 network adapter. This is awful. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I don't know, man. Nintendo, and we talked off. Well, it wasn't necessarily offline, but during our post show, we actually went on about a 30-minute rant.
Yeah, last week. Yeah,
where we talked about the Nintendo Switch and its shortcomings, and how Nintendo doesn't really seem to care. About their shortcomings.
They just announced that they're going to be. I think they ramped up production to 2 million systems a month now. So that's their big thing. We're selling them, so nobody wants online. We're selling Nintendos. Nobody wants online. They're buying them anyway. But people are buying them because they're getting caught up in this hype train, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, it's the Nintendo Switch. They're hard to find. Let me get one. And when you're getting them, you're not playing them. Like I told you, the only time I really touch my Switch now is when I'm on the shitter. If I don't have anything else to do, I don't want to. I've read all my news stories, and not just gaming stories. I read my politics and all my other stuff. I've done all my. Maybe I've done some show research. I don't have anything else to do. I'll take my Switch on the shitter with me. Mm-hmm. It's good for that. But other than that, I don't touch it. Like I said, I play it on the TV, and the thing is, it does the 1080p, and I have some up conversion on the TV. It just looks old to me.
Oh, yeah.
And with the up conversion, because the Nintendo Switch is natively 720, they'll tell you it's natively 1080. It's not. It's natively 720. The edges is just really soft picture, and I can really tell. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily bother me. It just makes me feel like I'm playing something really old.
Right. Yeah, and then here's the kicker. Remember, we talked about this a couple of months ago. Nintendo's going to start charging for online come sometime in 2018.
They won't be charging me.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like the more news that comes out, around the Switch, the more I'm just like wondering why people aren't more upset. Like, I am upset with this purchase, man. I like, other than Mario Odyssey, which I can't wait to play. I mean, and that's a single player game. It's an offline game. Hopefully, there's no like.
Yeah, it's not gonna be an issue.
Yeah, that's not gonna be an issue. So.
That may have been Nintendo's saving grace to this point, because the only games that were really online games would be what?
ARMS,
Mario Kart,
which is not Team.
which is not team based, Mario Kart, which is not a team based, Splatoon, which is the only one that's kind of team based, and that's only on a certain mode. So they kind of got away with not having any viable online infrastructure.
Right.
But now, especially when they start bringing these third-party games on there, the FIFAs and the NBA 2K, and then
Doom
we start
is coming out.
Yep, Doom and Wolfenstein. And those games that's going to beg for or really need multiplayer or online cooperation, they're not going to be able to do it or do it well. It's going to be a problem. Yeah. And like I said before, and I will say it again, and I will say it tomorrow, next week, and next year, Nintendo Switch is not a primary system.
No. Yeah, and Nintendo is definitely has been taking some L's lately. And I'm not sure where all of this like praise and high grace for this console is coming from, because I was a Wii consumer. I bought the Wii U when it first came out. I felt like I was burned on the Wii U because of its lack of third party support and lack of like games overall.
Mm-hmm.
And the Switch is not making up for that at all. They're not making up.
And so it's a nice system. It's a decent design. It's definitely not a primary system.
No.
It's a nice novelty at this point.
Yeah, and that's what Nintendo games or Nintendo consoles have been, for since the Wii. It's just the novelty of it. Oh, whoa, we got motion controls. Oh, whoa, I got this like tablet controller. Like, oh, I can take it on the go. It's always these novel features that bring people in. And then when you start peeling back those layers, you're like, man, this doesn't have online. Man,
nope.
This like doesn't have a chat feature. I can't talk to my friends unless I get an external app or talk on whatever. It's like,
and the battery life is poor on it. It's not very good battery life.
Right.
I mean, there's a ton of things. It's pretty for a handheld console. It's pretty large, so it gets uncomfortable after a while. I mean, yeah, there's tons of shortfalls with it, and I think all of the noise that you hear about Nintendo Switch being so great, those are the Nintendo sheep. That regardless of whatever Nintendo does, they're going to praise it. Yeah. If you say anything bad about it, they're going to come after you. But truth be told, somebody, I don't have a horse in a race. You can call me an Xbot or whatever you want to call me. I prefer Microsoft. I prefer the Xbox, mainly because the people that I play with are mostly on Xbox, and the controller is more comfortable to me.
Right.
I just don't think the Switch is worth anything.
I'm getting to that point, man. And I've been a Nintendo dude ever since the fall of Sega. ever since after the Sega Dreamcast, I've gotten every single Nintendo console. So it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, the only Nintendo console I haven't owned was the Wii U. I owned the NES. I owned the SNES. I owned the 64. I owned the GameCube. I owned a Game Boy. I owned a couple of Game Boys. I had like the OG Game Boy at one point, right. And I had maybe the Game Boy Advance, the one that was the horizontal one.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, and then the only thing I didn't own was a Wii U.
Okay.
And
congratulations.
When I saw that coming, I was like, yeah, that's a non-starter. And I'm not even thinking about it.
Right. But yeah, it's just more L's coming from the wonderful world of Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's just our impressions on it. Let us know what you guys think on this story or any of the stories that we talked about, this week or in this show. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our final segment though, which is the long form discussion. And this is just a deep dive into a particular topic. And what we want to talk about this week is and it kind of piggybacks off of the weekly icebreaker where we're talking about Easter eggs. And the discussion topic that I want to bring up today is, are Easter eggs dead because of the rise of data mining? That's a question I want to ask. And if you ask me, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're dead, but it is definitely a lot harder for developers to hide stuff in games. But when they are able to actually keep something hidden and nobody finds it, it is like some of the best moments ever.
Right. Yeah. I don't necessarily think Easter eggs are dead. Mm-hmm. I just think they're spoiled mainly, and it's because because of the internet, not necessarily not necessarily data mining. Partly because of the data mining.
Partly,
because if a developer is throwing in some content for say like an outfit or a skin, that's an Easter egg from another, that's an homage to another game or maybe a movie or something, and it's data mined months ahead of time, that's definitely disappointing. But a lot of times I just find the problem with the advent of streaming and streamers and YouTubers, where they put everything up in playthroughs, and this is part of the thinking of like Atlas when they were putting all these restrictions on their streaming. It's like, we don't want to release all of our secrets, and you see that all the time. And I don't know, I don't like data miners. They annoy me more than anything.
I don't know. I feel like when they use their powers for good, it's a good thing. But more than often, they're just basically spoiling everything about a particular game.
There's no power. There's no good power for a data miner, because all data miners do is spoil everything. That's all they do. They're just spoilers.
This is true, but there have been instances where data mining has revealed things about a game. Like, we can talk about Capcom and the inclusion of characters in DLC hidden behind a paywall. Where like, all of these DLC characters are actually on the disc. This is stuff that you paid for or whatever.
Not necessarily. Because remember, when you buy a game, you're not buying the game, you're licensing the content, right?
This is true.
And the company controls the content as they want. All that data mine did was spark a bunch of controversy that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. As far as this gets back on topic with the Easter eggs, I have noticed that, I don't know, maybe I'm missing them. But there haven't been as many lately.
No,
you don't see. I mean, you used to see them all the time, though, the Easter eggs. Like I talked earlier about the Jar Jar Binks one. One of my favorite ones was actually in a GTA game. Remember Liberty City?
Yeah.
The heart of the city and the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, that was awesome. Or even going all the way back to original Mortal Kombat. Remember Toasty?
Oh man, Toasty, Ermac.
Ermac, the reptile fight in the pit. Yeah, all of those stuff. You don't see a lot of that stuff anymore.
No. It's just harder. It's hard to hide from people.
Right.
I think one of like the coolest Easter eggs that I could remember from more recent years that wasn't spoiled was the inclusion or the Easter egg or hint at Arkham City within Arkham Asylum.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember people talking about that.
Yeah, when you go into what is it? Like somebody's office. I can't remember whose office it was, but when you go into his office, you see like blueprints for Arkham City in the Arkham Asylum game, which was super awesome. And it took the developers to like actually come out and show it. Like nobody
paid attention to it.
Yeah, nobody found it
because Asylum was before City, right?
Yeah, it was Asylum, then City, then Arkham Knight. Yeah.
So nobody really paid attention to it because it was something that was unknown at the time, right? There was no Arkham City, so.
Nope.
But yeah, that's that type of stuff is cool, and you'll see stuff like that. Like Destiny 1 and even Destiny 2. They have a lot of small Easter eggs that build into the lore of the game itself.
Okay.
That's cool. Even some lines that they say, they build it around it. They do a good job with that. But like just like what you just said, like the Arkham City. The Arkham City map, or like the Liberty City Heart, or like the Jar Jar Binks, the reptile stuff. I mean, those are the ones that I find are much more rare. Are the ones that are in-game content. We're unlocking the character, unlocking Ermac, unlocking reptile. Because what they seem to do is now, instead of them being like an Easter egg that doesn't necessarily affect the game, is something that you can do at your pleasure.
Right.
A lot of times now in the games, those Easter eggs are integral in the game. Maybe unlocking a side quest or unlocking a way. I mean, Destiny uses it too, and I'm talking Destiny because that's what all I've been playing for like the past 6 weeks.
Right.
Unlocking certain weapons, an exotic weapon, or hard to get weapon, or hard to get armor piece, or something like that.
Right.
It's integrated in the game, so I don't necessarily feel like that is an Easter egg. That's just game design.
The same with me. A lot of what we call Easter eggs today is just stuff that it could reference something from the past, like I mentioned earlier in the icebreaker with Sonic Mania. even at the main title screen, like the little emblem that Sonic is like standing in, he's like waving his finger or whatever. That emblem is in the circle shape, and all of the little lines and dots around the side are in the exact same place as a Sega Genesis controller. So that's like referencing the Genesis D-pad right there.
That's awesome.
And the fact that Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine was like the boss for Chemical Plant Zone. That was a really cool Easter egg, but it was something that was in the game, and you can actually unlock Mean Bean Machine as like a separate mode in the game as well.
Oh wow.
So it's like little cool things like that are a part of the game. They're integrated into the game, and if you notice, if you know where it's from, you get to like, oh wow, this is from that. But yeah, that's what goes for Easter eggs nowadays. You can't really hide anything from people anymore.
No,
it's really hard.
Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, they're cool. I always thought Easter eggs were cool, especially in the olden days when you had to look for them. You go out of the age
of the arcade days, man.
Yeah,
like, dude.
Yeah, but nowadays you just go on to YouTube and pull up some streamer and they'll walk you right through it. And you're not. It takes all the fun out of it. The fun in the Easter egg is finding it yourself. I always felt that way. And when I see it spoiled or I see something like that, I just like, oh, it's cool, but it just doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same.
It doesn't have the same impact that it used to. I can agree with that wholeheartedly. But and again, like you said, it isn't necessarily data miners' fault, but just like the rise of the internet,
Do you see what?
Yeah, Mount Lovers in the chat. What's going on, homie? But yeah, let us know what some of your favorite Easter eggs are. Another one of my really favorite ones was the what was it? In Borderlands 2, you like fought creepers and stuff from Minecraft. That was pretty funny.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was funny.
I didn't beat Borderlands 2, but I saw that somewhere. Where did I see that?
Probably on YouTube.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I've seen that somewhere. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh God, GamePro magazine. Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Vault Lover showing his age out here. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. What are some of your favorite Easter eggs that either you found or that you saw? And do you think that data mining and the rise of the internet is responsible for less of these types of Easter eggs? Let us know what you think down in the comment section below. Hit us up on social media. Pick our brains and let's get the discussion going, because that's a main part of this podcast. We don't pride ourselves in being like the first to report stories, but we do like to open up the discussion with you guys and open up that dialogue. So let's get the discussion going. Let us know what you think on the long form or any of the stories that we talked about for today. And I think that's gonna be it. Final thoughts. Wow, almost forgot.
A whole section, right?
A whole section. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our final thoughts out of the way. This is just where we revisit all the stories and just give our last 2 cents on each of them. Boogie, why don't you start us off?
Silicon Echo Studios. I mean, shovelware purveyor extraordinaire. You will not be missed.
No.
The Overwatch Halloween event, I'm definitely going to be playing that. I want the skins.
On PlayStation, then maybe I'll play.
I'll play on either system. If you want to get on PlayStation, just hit me up. I'll play on it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I have a ton of in-game credits. At least on my Xbox One, I have a ton. I have about 6,000 or 7,000 credits. So I'll probably buy a couple of them. The AR game for Xbox One X, I think that's cool. I know Microsoft has been pushing AR with their mixed reality glasses that they're going to be releasing out soon.
Yeah, when is that supposed to land?
They
2-3 years ago.
They started recently, like Asus and Samsung and HP and Dell. All of them have headsets coming out this month or next month.
Okay.
But I think that's cool. And if you're in Chicago, LA, and New York, give it a shot.
Be careful.
Yeah.
As soon as you said those towns, I was like, be careful outside. Be careful out there.
It depends. As long as you're not in the south side of Chicago, or you're not heading to any of the projects in the Bronx, or you're not in South Central, you should be good.
Yeah.
Master Chief, that Easter egg, I think that's kind of cool.
That's actually cool. That's an Easter egg right there.
I won't be cracking open my Xbox to see it, but knowing it's in there, it's cool.
Yeah.
The PlayStation VR, I mean, drop it to $199 and I might give you a shot. I don't care how much updates or hardware revisions you make. I mean, you don't have games. Nope. Nothing that's particularly interesting or system seller. The firmware update, who cares? And based on what you said, like I said, I didn't put one and one together as far as Andrew House talking bad about portables, leaving, and then they handed the reins over to the PlayStation Portable King. Right. That's kind of interesting. The Street Fighter V arcade, I think Capcom did it right. Hopefully, I mean, not necessarily hopefully, I mean, Street Fighter V is not going to go away because it's got a big esports scene. Right. But maybe they can pick up a few more players.
Hopefully.
Turn 10 and Microsoft, you just have to communicate better. And Aaron Rutledge, sorry, not sorry. Nintendo, I mean, that Sega tagline, Sega does what Nintendo
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo don't do nothing.
They don't.
They're just shitting the bed right now. I'm sorry, and that's all I got to say.
I agree with you on most of the topics here. Yeah, getting shovelware companies. I cannot wait for more platforms to do the exact same, kind of just like clean house, because there's too many of these type of like shovelware companies out here, just like gaming the system. So I'm not particularly sad that Silicon Echoes is out of business. I'm not sad at all. I definitely want to get in on Overwatch. I need an excuse. I need time and I need an excuse to play Overwatch, and then we in there.
Halloween costumes, man. Halloween costumes.
All right, fine. I hope Zarya's looks cool, because that's like the only character I play.
Did you get your Twitch Prime gear?
No.
Your loot boxes?
No.
There's some more coming up in October. All 5 more.
Fine, I'll get them. As far as winning the free Xbox One through an AR game, I'm not in that area, so it doesn't really apply to me. Master Chief riding the Scorpion, because the Scorpion is actually the name of the tank in the Halo series. Yeah. So it's actually it's a pretty cool Easter egg. I like it.
It's got two meanings, right? Because it's the tank, and then the Xbox One X was, of course, Project
Scorpio. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really cool Easter egg. I like it a lot. As far as the PlayStation VR news, I really do not think that a lot of current PSVR players are going to be particularly stoked about a revised version.
Yeah, and what's really a slap in the face is the cables are a different shape. So if you already have the PSVR system, you won't be able to use the new processing unit. You have to get a whole new setup.
You have to get a whole new setup. Yeah, so
that's pretty shitty. But
yeah. If Nintendo has taught anybody anything, is that in 2017 nobody wants another 3DS XL. Like, I'm good. Stop coming out with different versions and different colors. I'm not buying it again. And I feel like that's going to be the same thing, like if not even more of the case, because in addition to it, being a new version, there's still nothing to play. Right. So that's my thing about it. Andrew House, curious as to what the future holds for him, if he's going to stay inside of the gaming universe, or if he's going to do something else. It'll be interesting to see. Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, a necessary thing. Definitely need to try and bring in those casuals, and with all of the different modes, I really think that casual players will have something to do besides getting wrecked online. And if you need help with that, make sure you head on over to newchallenger.gg. Help you get good. Not sad about Riot getting rid of that guy. He you deserved it, man. It's 2017. We're in the age of outrage, and talking like that is definitely gonna have you unemployed for quite some time.
You need to trademark that.
What, the age of outrage?
The
age of outrage. Yeah, that's what we in, man. You can't say anything, dude. You can't even say the F word on YouTube without getting demonetized. It's crazy. You can't even say the F word. Is wild. Yeah, and as far as Nintendo, man, like this is just another L in their baskets, man. They are just collecting these L's, and I'm not sure how many of these it's gonna take for people to just like wake up and realize that Nintendo is screwing their hardcore fan base. They're screwing them, man.
But the problem is the hardcore fan base doesn't realize it either. And that's the problem.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they like how many more times are they gonna like I don't know, man. Like wake up, people, wake up, sheeple. That's all I got to say about that. And as always, let us know what you guys think. I know I already said that, but we're on Twitter. We're at AWGamingNS. You can look us up on Facebook, a weekly gaming news show, or by our call letters, AWGNS. Let us know what you think, man. We'd love to interact with the with our viewers and with our followers. And we're also on YouTube, tinyurl.com/AWGamingNS. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel. We have the weekly gaming news 10 and 10, which is hosted by Todd, and he gives you like a quick snippet as to what's going to be going on in the podcast. Those go live Saturday.
Yep, Saturdays at noon.
Or
noon-ish.
Noonish, yeah. Saturdays at noonish. And I do my first impressions on different video games that I am currently playing, and those go live whenever I'm not lazy. So so make sure you check us out on YouTube. Help us get to 100 subscribers so that we can get the custom URL. And maybe if we get there, we'll do something cool. Maybe like we'll do a live stream, like a giveaway or something. If we hit 100 subscribers, that'd be really cool. But as always, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcasting app, we definitely want to thank you for taking us on the go. Boogie, just in case they don't know, let them know where they can listen to us if they want to.
Okay, so if you're watching live and you want to take us on the go, maybe next week you missed the Sunday show, you want to catch up on Mondays at noon, the podcast goes live. We are in the general podcasting directory, so if you're using the podcasting app, you can find us by searching our call letters, AWGNS, or a weekly gaming news show. We are also listed on iTunes, Google Play, and in TuneIn Radio. Just again, call letters or a weekly gaming news show, you'll pull us up. Go to those places, iTunes, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. Leave a comment, rate us. Let us know what you think.
Yes, because we do take you guys' comments and criticisms to heart. Anything that we can do to make the show better for you guys, we'll definitely take into consideration. Also, before we get up out of here, I do want to give one more special shout out to our sponsors, the New Challenger. And in addition to that, I want to give a shout out to the homeboys over at Infinite Inventory, putting up 3 videos in a week. What the hell? These guys have been on a roll. So if you're working hard. So if you're unfamiliar with Infinite Inventory, it's a YouTube show hosted by our good friend O and his friend Reggie. Yep. They do gaming news as well, but they do it in a more like a lightning round, it's quicker. It's a lot shorter of an experience than a podcast like we do. So if you're stressed for time, you've already watched the 10 and 10. Go ahead over to Infinite Inventory. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because those guys are also very close to 100 subscribers as well. So just wanted to show those guys some love because they've been struggling to come up with like a format for a very long time, and it seems like they got it down packed. So very proud of those guys. As always, he's big part of the Weekly Gaming News Show podcast. He's one of the extended cast and characters for the show. So I definitely wanted to show him some love and help support his channel. So make sure you hit those guys up. But I think that's it. We can go ahead and bounce up out of here. Again, this was episode 69 of a Weekly Gaming News Show. We hope you enjoyed it. We are your hosts. My name is Trenell.
My name is Todd.
And we will catch you all
next week.
Peace out.
Peace.